Hey, this is Steve from tldraw. So we just launched tldraw Offline. It's a new desktop app. Works tldraw, but offline. Kind of normal. Also, there's some interesting stuff about it. So let me come step into my little cubicle, little meeting room thing here, and let me show you what I'm. Talking about. So, all right, tldraw Offline. In a lot of ways, it is what it kind of sounds like. It's a desktop application. It will work. I can turn off my Wi-Fi. It'll keep working. Bundles all the things that you need, and you can use it with files, like kind of normal file-based system, right? So if I save this and I say demo video.tldraw, then I can make a whole bunch of drawings here. I can make multiple pages. I can do all the things that I could kind of do on tldraw.com. Including putting links and other things that might touch the internet and videos and assets and images. All that stuff will be bundled into the file, and the file lives on my computer, and I can close this file and I can open it back up, or I could send it to someone else, and that's just the way that the application works. You could kind of stop there, and it would be kind of good, right? Like cool, right? I go on airplanes sometimes. I go on camping trips, and I love my whiteboard so much. I want to bring it with me. But the place where this really gets interesting is actually the way that it involves AI. So let's say I make a drawing. Let's say I make a little guy here, and I want a bunch of controls next to him that say walk and run and idle and maybe jump. Cool. And this is my dude, and this is my user interface. Now, in the past, what you could do is just kind of copy this as a kind of PNG or something like that, and give it to ChatGPT or to Claude and say, hey, I want to make the user interface for this, and it would make something in HTML and so on. But what you can do with tldraw Offline is actually just use the AIs directly with the application itself. So I can say in demo video .tldraw, make the UI work, like that's it. Make the UI work. The AI connections that we have in tldraw Offline mean that a model, like a coding harness, like Claude or Codex or Pi or even like the local ones like Olama, can get the list of files that are open in tldraw Offline, can get screenshots from those files, can look at the scripts, and we'll talk about scripts in a minute, that are part of the file, and also just write those scripts, and also just run JavaScript inside of the editor. Now, unlike a kind of a SaaS product like you might get on, like your Figmas and your Miros, or really tldraw.com or any website like that, you can't just let users run their code on your server in your application. That's a bad idea. You can't do that. But in this case, it's a desktop application. The worst thing that goes wrong is that you break the file somehow, but even those are recoverable in the same way that normal files are recoverable. And so from our perspective, hey, just go nuts. And what we found is that Claude and Codex and these other harnesses, things built with modern models, well, they're fantastic at writing code, and they're fantastic at using they're really good at using tldraw in particular, because that's kind of what we built tldraw to be. Even though tldraw.com is like an app that you can go to, the whole business of tldraw, the way that we make our money, the way that this kind of is more than just a side project, and the reason why we have 20 people working for me, is that companies use tldraw to build canvases in Canvas applications using our canvas. We license the canvas to other people. The tldraw SDK, or software developer kit, that's a whole product that is designed to be used with code in order to produce very, very different type of experiences. One of my favorite, Padlet Sandbox. This is a very different activity to tldraw. It looks nothing like tldraw.com, but it is still built with the same canvas. This is tlDraw's kind of engine that is powering this, and it's able to do that and be so different and be cool and stuff like that because we built that engine to be really, really flexible and to be able to allow developers to kind of like write code against it. And so when we are in tldraw offline, the AI can write that code too. It's actually been training on our code and consuming our code for years. And so it can just figure out how to make things happen inside of tldraw. And that's very cool. I think that's really, really exciting. I think the sky's the limit here. Now, I could also ask it to, make me a diagram, showing how tldraw makes money off of its side projects. It's going to make a diagram, but I'll be honest, we still haven't figured out how to make these language models, which are really good at writing code, really good at writing text, into models that can also be really good at drawing and diagramming. Now, they're not terrible. You will get a result here. It will figure out how to, make the shapes, make the arrows, and do all those things. But what I found, using this thing is that it's much better at adding functionality to things that you've created and you've designed, with your significantly stronger kind of visual systems and stuff, rather than being the one to do the diagrams. That said, diagrams are kind of like slop tolerant. It's sometimes a place where you don't need perfect diagrams or drawings. And so there are certain workflows, such as asking Claude, hey, visualize this this workflow, right? This part of my code or this part of my process or something like that. And then visualize that for me, and it'll open tldraw and it'll do it in tldraw. And then you can actually edit the thing that it created, right? Because this is just these are just shapes and stuff. You can edit those and then say back to the Claude, hey, I got rid of this, or you don't even have to say that. Just be like, all right, you know what? Boom, Claude, update the code or update the workflow to reflect my changes, right? So you can kind of use the tldraw canvas as the interaction environment, the simplified abstract view of a much more complicated process, such as code or a workflow or a pipeline or something like that from HubSpot or whatever, and then have that kind of as the agreed upon symbolic environment, which then you can edit stuff in, and then have the machine go back or the model go back and actually affect those changes inside of your HubSpot or inside of your code or something like that. It's a lot like, if you've ever gone to breakfast, with someone and you're telling a story and the story involves a bunch of stuff, right? It might involve oh, there's, a car almost hit me on my way to school and all that stuff. But you want to tell a fairly complex story, but all you have in front of you is a salt shaker and a pepper mill and a glass of water and things like that. And so, the glass of water becomes oh, well, this is the car and this is me and there's these two people who are watching and I'm walking across the street and then the car kind of bumps up and all that stuff, right? That you kind of make these environments very dynamically all the time. And now this is a thing that you can kind of do on the canvas pretty well. Let me see if it's done anything here. It's working. Like I said, much better at writing code that brings these things to life rather than doing the diagramming. But it will make it there. Oh, there we go. Here's how tldraw turns side projects into money. Create demand, convert to the SDK, operating revenue. Beautiful, especially because that operating revenue lets us do more side projects and demos. Speaking of which, if you are inspired by stuff that you make here, even though this is all free, please do, tldraw.dev, get in. He'll help us make some more stuff. I mean, join the Replit uses tldraw. Like all sorts of companies use tldraw to make cool stuff. It's it's never been a better time to build. Anyway, let me look at another thing that we've built here as a presentation example. Now, a lot of the UI that you see, this whole UI, the presentation UI, this was created by Codex, by Claude, like inside of the file, right? So like tldraw, the application doesn't have a sidebar. It doesn't have slides. It doesn't, like, none of this stuff exists inside of the application. But because, our canvas is actually like a website, and websites are made of HTML and CSS and a whole document object model, like the models know how to do stuff with that technology, and there's nothing stopping them. We certainly don't stop the models from doing that in this environment. The tldraw desktop, tldraw offline is a desktop app where it kind of invites the hacking. It kind of like tells the models, here's how to script inject my application. Here's how to customize this in a ways and build UI and build features that we haven't thought of before. So even though there's the whole tldraw SDK is very, very customizable and stuff, the fact that it's a website is the ultimate escape hatch. Like at the end of the day, if we don't have an API that allows for like, whatever custom like slide panel or something, we do have a camera control. We do have the way to imperatively control the camera. We do have separation between the background and the interactive like shape layer. But if we're missing something, then it'll just build it into the environment itself, because the environment itself is like a website. Another one of these that I'll show. This is currently crushing it on Twitter. This is where we actually have a whole big CSV of data. So if I actually go to develop, this is, by the way, it's grayed out, but install agent skills is the way when you install this on your computer to get your models to learn how to use it with AI. So if you have Claude Code, or if you have Codex, or if you're in that world, then do go to develop and install agent skills. If I reveal the script, I think in here, under assets, there's somewhere there is the big, essentially CSV of earthquake data in this project. And this application, sort of, I mean, it's a whiteboard, right? It's just like, it's a normal thing, right? But what we've done with Claude is essentially made like a working application using that data, being visualized on the canvas of, okay, this is how many earthquakes are kind of between 2021 and 2025, according to the USGS. And we can see which, basically like of the things that are on the screen right now, like facing me, how many are there, and what were their magnitudes, and what are their strongest, and events per quarter, and so on. And this globe, which, by the way, does not exist in tldraw. We have no globe shape. It just made it, just figured out how to make it, is the thing that allows you to kind of interact with that data. And, I can still edit things. I can still like rename things and move them around and save them, and they'll be back. But, all of this behavior is being driven by a script, which was written by the bots, right? By the Claudes and so on. Like, however you feel about AI coding, like this is not it's not a load-bearing piece of code. This is very much an ad hoc piece of code that honestly I have not read, and I don't think anyone ever will. And it doesn't really matter, because it's just sort of like, it's not like a toy, but it's closer to being a toy than an application. No one else is going to use this except me. Maybe I'll share this with other people, and maybe you'll use it as well. But the bar is on the floor. The expectations are very low. And so as an environment to play around with direct manipulation canvases, as an environment to play around with ad hoc UIs, and I don't know, I guess like entertain your kids and your friends by making silly things together. I think tldraw offline is a pretty cool and also fairly unique product in this space. So that's tldraw offline. Again, if all you ever want to do is just use tldraw on the beach or on an airplane or in space, then or in your air-gapped facility in in Germany or equally data sovereign concerned part of the world, like this is yours. Go for it. Download it. It's free. We're going to continue to maintain it and ship it just like we do with tldraw.com. And it's a pretty very good whiteboard. You'll have fun with it just with that. If you want to do some more stuff, if you're into AI, if you're playing around with some of these tools, again, like Claude Code or Codex or, take your pick, Olama, all the open source models and things like that, definitely also give this a try because it is a very fun way to use those tools and it feels very different. You would never be able to have this type of kind of creative environment like on a hosted product or in a product that has users or like a lot of the constraints, the things that we're kind of not caring about allow for kind of maximal creative freedom, even though we didn't really start out by thinking about that stuff. So again, if you want to play around with it, it is at offline.tldraw.com. Secretly, it's also at tldraw.online. Oh, no, not yet. We'll fix that. You can read about it. There's a blog post as well. There's a user manual that you can go to and kind of, if you have any questions about how tldraw works or whatever, then that should answer all the details. And there is a blog post at tldraw.dev/blog/whatever, tldraw offline, where we basically talk about what we talked about here, but also go into kind of like the backstory of this, how it started. This was my holiday project for 2 years. So really happy to be sharing it today. Really happy to be putting out something in the world that feels a little bit different and should give you a kind of a unique experience with your AI friends if you're into that. And if not, then one more kind of file over app thing in the world that you can use and have some fun with. So thank you for watching. Download it, offline.tldraw.com, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya. Bye.